world is characterized not by the absence of religion, but by a continuing multiplication of new religions and spiritualities. Religiosity therefore refers to how individuals attend to matters of the religious and the spiritual as they understand them at a particular time and context. Another author, Meredith McGuire, in 2008, argues that religion needs to be studied not as it is defined by religious organizations, but as it is actually lived in people's everyday lives. Therefore, she examines the contemporary patterns of religiosity by focusing on people's lived religion, which is expressed in everyday practices. Two other authors, Gordon and William or Swatos, discussed different forms of religiosity which they offer or they refer to it as spirituality. And according to them, the concept of spirituality is found in all the world's religions, as each religion speaks of their own spirituality. While Saba Mahmood in 2012 also discussed secularized concepts of religiosity, which she observes commands particular weight in the development of most religious traditions. So situating my study religiosity on campus within the existing literature provides a new perspective on religion in the public domain and contributes to knowledge on the question of religiosity in everyday lives of students in secular higher educational institutions. Methodology. The study focuses on 3 university campuses which I've mentioned earlier. These universities are all located in northern Nigeria, and their selection is an important representation of the 3 geopolitical regions in northern Nigeria. This would provide a good analysis of the politics of religiosity, power, and conflicts on these campuses. To gather data for this study, in-depth interviews will be conducted with leadership and student members of these groups. Furthermore, participant observation will be carried out and, if possible, a focus group discussion with a combined group of Muslim and Christian students. In addition, policy documents from the university administrations will be analyzed. Data for the study will be collected within 4 months, and data gathered from interviews and focus group discussions will be transcribed and analyzed to identify emerging themes, which would then be grouped according to thematic categories and coded. Once certain patterns are discerned from codes, they would be used against existing literature to draw conclusions on the basis of findings from this research. The results from the study will then be published as a book manuscript and related findings in international peer-reviewed journals, making available the conclusion from this study. Significance. This study is an attempt at researching and documenting the most multifaceted roles that religiosity plays in the lives of students on university campuses in northern Nigeria. It is important because it contributes to ongoing debates on the role of religiosity in the public domain, as it interrogates the phases of change that characterizes the evolution of fellowships and mosques on university campuses in northern Nigeria. Particularly, the study will be an immense contribution to scholarly discourses on policy, which I will drop, but I'll read it, on policy formulations which would aid in regulating the activities of campus fellowships in campuses across northern Nigeria. This would help in establishing why there has been an increasing presence of Pentecostalism and Salafism on these campuses. Work plan. The study shall be conducted in 12 months, beginning from July 2021 to June 2022. Field work for data collection in Zaria, Jos, and Gombe will be conducted in July, August, and September of 2021. The months of October and November will be dedicated to data analysis, while writing of first draft will commence from December 2021 to February 2022. Between March and May 2022, a 2-week follow-up fieldwork will be conducted to fill up gaps in writing and the writing of final draft of manuscript will be carried out. Then the months of June 2022 shall be used for roundup and conclusion of the study, and if possible, the production of the draft book manuscript. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to your comments.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I want to start. Well, let me thank Dr. Silpi for this.
Mm.
I will want to invite reactions from members of the group, and that is to give us an opportunity to also help other members of the group to improve on their work. So we need to react. Yes. I hope we didn't assume that we just come here and wait for our own papers to be presented.
Um, I listened attentively, and my comment is that it's an interesting presentation. Aside that, I don't have any reactions to make.
Okay, well, let me say that we were we have this opportunity to listen so we can help. So otherwise, there would have been no need for us to ask people to read, and I will just comment. So at this level, we can share knowledge, and that's what exactly. Even if you are not applying for the AHP, you can, when somebody presents something, you can react to it. So I will want us to all be very, very attentive, and then not to just say it's good, because that is not enough. That's not what we need now. We
Yeah.
need to know what the uh, um, researcher can do better, and because what a lot of people will see are things that we can also see. So are there other people who want to say something about this? Is there anybody who listened and has something, or one thing or two things or 2 points to raise that will help the scholar? And I want to say that from now on, those who will be making presentations should give us their title, so that everybody will know. From the title, we can react. Yes, Dr. Jimo, do you have something to say?
Thank you, Prof. I was going to say that concerning the title, but I was thinking maybe I didn't hear when she talked about the title. So, but now that you've said something about that, so it means that maybe she has not actually talked about the title before, because I didn't hear anything about the title. So,
Okay, can she let her tell us the title again?
Yeah, I mentioned the title. Maybe I did that in a hurry, but the title is Religiosity on Campus, a study of charismatic Christian and Muslim groups in selected universities in northern Nigeria.
okay, selected.
Okay, other comments quickly. Okay, well, I hope we would be listening, and then we'll be attentive enough to make comments. Let me start from the title. The title is good. I mean, in terms of the focus, there's something about it. It's very topical. It's something that will be of interest to a lot of people, because in Nigeria, religion appears to be everywhere, and universities are not left out. But you know, the things I will say here, and will say about some other proposals, will also be useful to other people. The first thing is our titles must be, I don't know whether, I think Dr. My colleague that spoke first addressed this. The title is very important. The title can either be inviting or can repel the potential reader. The title probably represents, is the most important identifier of a work, because it captures its essence in terms of focus, significance, intervention, the innovative quality that it has and all that. And we can even discover the approach that the researcher wants to adopt from the title at times. The focus, the approach, the significance, whatever is unique about it and all that. Now, with particular reference to this title, I want to say that there are a few observations that I want to make. One, uh, in the bid to make the title smart, I want to suggest that we eliminate a study of, because redundancy, it is implied every research title indicates that a study is going to be carried out, so we can eliminate that. Well, we can still retain semicolon, so we can say religiosity. Well, is either say religiosity on campus or religiosity in the university, whichever, and then just eliminate a study of. So you now have charismatic Christian and Muslim groups in selected universities in northern Nigeria. I would also want to advise, encourage every member of this group to try to go to the website of ACLS. You will see the titles of earlier researches, researches that were funded by the ACLS. In fact, I should let you know that the convener of this particular workshop is also HP fellow, that's Professor Suli Egia. And then in fact, the other people, I'm the only person, that's not a member, that's not a fellow. That is, I never got the AHP fellowship, but I've had to work with them right from when the project started as a mentor. So now let's go into the other thing is, as I said, when you see the guidelines that we talked about, you'll discover that there is actually also an abstract, and that abstract is expected, is likely to be longer than the main thesis. So the main thesis should be shorter and should capture just what is unique about this research. So in many cases, and the reason I'm saying this is that when you want to fill the online form, somebody will be talking about filling making the online application. You will discover that the space, the number of words you are giving for it may not accommodate a lot. So as much as possible, imagine a situation in which the abstract will capture, capture, what you find in a conventional abstract, and then the main thesis will just give us insight into that unique element in the work. So let it be shorter. Now for the so now the second line of the main thesis, I think they believe there should be the one in the noun form,
Sorry
BENIEF.
about that.
And then in the body, I also want to suggest that, well, if you are using a lot of the university, if you are using it as not, if you are not referring to a particular university, you don't have to capitalize the U. So, and then after that, you have namely, comma, and then Salafi groups existing side by side. Let's read that sentence. The recent emergence of more charismatic and Pentecostal fellowships and Salafi groups
Existing side by side with more
yeah
traditional groups.
yeah, if you want you can retain the existing, but it may also be, and then the two lines below that, Western education, remove the S in the education, and then the last two lines, okay, last four lines, okay, for the fourth line from the
The
bottom,
body?
for several years, comma,
Yeah, okay.
northern Nigeria has been, and then the second to the last line of that part, I would suggest that instead of uh, having the rise in conflicts has also increased the presence of Salafi and Pentecostal groups, Pentecostal presence in university campuses, I think we just suggest groups so that you won't have repetition of presence twice.
Okay.
You won't have, and then you won't have it occurring twice. And then the last one is, I would say, okay, from groups, Pentecostal groups on university campuses, You are leading to the establishment of these
Fellowships and mosques.
mosques. Okay. Or you
Remove
can.
campus. Remove campus, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there are fellowships and mosques. You can either this. There are fellowships and mosques. So now the next paragraph, that's under body again. The third line from the bottom, to provide answers to these questions, comma. And then the second, this next paragraph, that is under body. So the third line from the bottom, to provide answers to these questions, comma. Then methodology. The study focuses on 3 university campuses and others. So now Plateau State, the S in state should be in the capital, uppercase. Okay. These 3 universities, the U there should be in the lowercase. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines into methodology. In depth, the I in depth should be in the lowercase.
Yeah, it's in the law.
Yeah, and then furthermore, participant observation will be carried out, and comma, if possible, a focus group discussion. Now, under significance, I feel that you can do without. Well, if you feel like this study is an attempt, you can, instead of saying it's just an attempt, this study focuses on
I mentioned focuses in one of the.
Okay, this study is an attempt at researching. Now, we know we are already doing research. This study concentrates on the multifaceted roles that, or highlights the multifaceted roles that religiosity plays in the lives of students or university campuses in northern Nigeria. In actual fact, I was wondering whether we could do without that and then start with the second one, where you have a study of this nature is essential because it will, contribute to.
Sorry, which line?
The second line of significance.
Okay,
the study of this nature is essential because it will contribute to ongoing debates on the role of religiosity in the public domain as it interrogates the phases of change that characterize the evolution of fellowships. So characterize, not characterizes there. Okay. I'll still look at this again, but these are my immediate, and then work plan. The study, you may not repeat study, you can say the project or the research. So it's always good to, for the purpose of elegance, you don't use the same expression. It's a matter, it's a stylistic quality that is very, very important. So you can say
research.
Yes. Will be conducted in 12 months, beginning from July 2001 to 2022. Fieldwork. Write fieldwork as a word.
Sorry?
Fieldwork. Let it be one word.
Fieldwork. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Then what is very important is, you see, at times it may be important to draw attention to what you want to do. Do you want to write book chapters, or you are planning to write journal articles? Now that's very important. So it may be important to highlight that. You want to write book chapters or journal articles. So generally, I find this very, very, very impressive. in terms of focus. I think that the main thesis, you should try to write the abstract now, and then let us see. Then the abstract and the main thesis can be the same in content and length. So the main thesis will simply highlight what the work is about. And I want to encourage everybody to go to the ACLS website and read abstracts of earlier projects that were funded by the AHP. So do you have questions on this? So I would want to encourage you to work on this before tomorrow, so that we can have something which is an improvement on this. And I don't think a lot of people have done the kind of thing. I think it's Dr. Kafo who has an abstract and has the main thesis, and it looks like exactly what I think we need to. So when you have that, it makes it easier for us. And the other thing I can say is, if it's the wish of this group that I share the documents, the proposals of others, that's as maybe they are presenting, you can follow that, fine. Okay, otherwise that's, you just read on the screen like that. But it's okay. But the whole idea is I want us to make inputs so that it's not going to be only me that will be talking. Good. Any comment or question from the presenter or other members of the group?
So you mentioned that you want to prepare a book manuscript, and then just a wild thought, I was wondering if you already have a publisher in mind, or if AHP does not care about what precisely you will do with a manuscript. Because the point of preparing a manuscript to the point of finding a publisher, sometimes it's a long journey. So now I'm just a bit concerned if that is part of AHP concerns, or if it doesn't matter. And yeah, it's just have you thought about that?
We have some interference. Is it from your end, Dr. Kafo?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Or it's either are you using a earpiece?
Oh, yes, I'm using. Okay.
Can you properly insert it? I don't know what is causing the noise.
Okay, I guess I would rather just put it on speaker. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, yes.
It's clear now.
Can you hear me better now?
Better.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly without the interference.
Okay, some of these gadgets. Yeah. So I was asking or commenting about the issue of publisher. You plan to prepare a manuscript, a book manuscript. Yes. So I'm wondering if you have also clarified the aspect of finding a publisher, because sometimes the point of having prepared a manuscript to the point of finding a publisher, sometimes it can be a long journey. So now I'm wondering if that is part of AHP concerns, or they are totally not interested in knowing whether you have found a publisher. Like, generally, have you thought around the issue of publisher in terms of your application?
Okay, is the question directed to me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. I think that I'm not sure, but I think that what is most important for AHP is that the research has been completed and that you have a draft. Because, of course, it is impossible to research, write a book draft, manuscript, and publish within 1 year. So after the whole research, at the end of 12 months or before the end of the 12 months, I can forward the manuscript to possible publishers. And I think AHP also offers some support related to publishing of the book. They offer editing, mentorship, and all of that related to the publication of the book. But I have to find out. But it's not
Exactly,
possible.
exactly the point.
It's a new study. It's not a study. It's not a study that is ongoing. So I'm starting anew and finishing within 12 months, and then I can present the book for possible publication.
So I would suggest you find out precisely and see if it's something you can weave into your work plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me
Thank
just
you.
make a quick contribution there. And that's the fact that, you see, AHP is primarily interested in promoting good research
Yeah.
and in the humanities. And you are free to do your research, and then when you are done with it, you can decide to publish it anywhere and anyhow, whether as a book, as a monograph, or as chapters, as as journal articles.
Mm.
But the AHP currently has a book series. And incidentally, two of our mentors today uh, have published within that in that series. If I thought about this, I would have brought up Professor has a book that came out of his own work, and then uh, Professor Dipio has something that she also published in the African Humanities series, which is a book series of the AHP. The AHP organizes manuscript development workshop where people bring their manuscripts that mentors would have looked at, and it's for a period of about a week that they will come from various countries, come together, and then people will comment on this, and then they prepare the manuscripts, and then you are free. You can submit it for consideration for publication in the series, or you can also just give it out. I mean, just decide to publish with any other. So nobody compels anybody. So, and what I think is important again is when we talk about what you want to do is you should be realistic, because that's one of the things that assessors look for. They are interested in finding out. They look out for what you are projecting to do. So a lot of things are considered. Are you going to do something that can be completed, realistically speaking, within the period of the fellowship, which is not just more, which not more than a year, or you want to do something that is too little, something that will just take you like 4 months, and you want to get an award for 1 year. So it shouldn't be too little, it shouldn't be too much. It should just be something that's reasonable. We've had to raise questions as to, okay, what is suitable in terms of, if you're talking about journal articles. Now, there is a basic assumption, and I was very excited, just, was it last week or so, last week or the week, at the University of Ghana, when there was a discussion, and the expectation of the AHP is that you will be free for the entire fellowship year, and that's why you have paid that. But I don't know how many universities in Nigeria release awardees to just face their work for that period. Thank you. So, but you see, and then we'll ask, okay, how many articles? Well, anything like 3 articles will be fine, of maximum of 4, because the point is, if you have to be realistic. If you have to do reading and all that, you don't have to create the impression that you want to impress people by projecting to do what you cannot do, you cannot finish within the period. That's very, very important. So it's important not to be very, very ambitious. But you see, from experience, you can know. I mean, for instance, I always share this experience. I had to go and do a work. I was on the fellowship, you know, for 6 months. And those of us who are in that fellowship were all, I think, altogether about 4. Yeah, no, 5 or so. Yeah, 5 at the University of Cambridge. And for 6 months, what people were expected to do was simply to do an article, just one. Whereas I had another fellowship that was 4 months, and I was projected to do a monograph. I was fortunate to win the fellowship, but you see, the first thing my host told me when I arrived the very first meeting was to say, oh, you said you would do a monograph in 4 months. And that was a very polite way of saying this is not possible. So for almost every fellowship that I know, that is a major factor, whether you are projecting to do what you can complete within the period of the fellowship. So that is very important. I'm happy this came up. Thank you very much. So I think we can go on to the next presentation now, if nobody has an, because we have just 44 minutes left for this session. And I think we said Dr. Gani is the next person, right?
Yes, Prof.
Yes. So please, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols duly observed. The title of my research is Cartoons and Constructions of Political Reality in Nigeria. The main thesis: African art historical discourse has always neglected cartoons and comics, though they have been engaged as visual forms of socio-political communication through the ages. From the Protestant Reformation movement in Germany to the recent EndSARS protest in Nigeria, cartoons have played significant roles in socio-religious and political activism and serve as handy historical texts for interrogating and distilling different aspects of human experiences. Even though comic art has held popular appeal and becoming intellectually and artistically respectable, it continues to be neglected by art historians in their inquiries. The upsurge in scholarly attention paid image. This has led to a lopsided exploration of a genre that interrogates a lot of societal issues. This study explores political cartoons as a
Dr. Gani,
yes,
I want you, because the other people don't have a copy. So when you are reading body, let them know that you are reading body so that they can follow.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So body. This study explains political cartoons as a visual commentary through which socio-political realities are constructed as part of contemporary societal cultural fabric. It examines how cartoonists conceptualize aspects of reality and commenting on socio-political discourse using visual imageries. The study investigates the selected cartoons of 10 Nigerian cartoonists as published between 2003 and 2013. The period is significant in Nigerian political history as it witnessed the first transition of political power between 3 democratically elected presidents, from Olusegun Obasanjo to Umaru Yar'Adua and later to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. The development created an atmosphere conducive for freedom of the press. The period was also ironically characterized by gross financial misconduct by power brokers, election rigging, data manipulation, and many other vices. Cartoonists at this period capitalized on these, and through their visual commentaries in the media, they parodied political leaders the way they had never done before. A literature review. Most studies are focused on cartoons' humorous aspects, hence contextualizing them as an art form devoid of analytical communication. However, the 2005 Prophet Muhammad cartoon controversy, which led to violent protests across the Muslim world, and the 2015 killings of French satirical magazine cartoonists by terrorists, attest to the continuing importance of cartoons as a genre of socio-political commentary that cannot be denied a rigorous scholarly attention. Several scholars have lamented the lack of serious attention to the study of political cartoon. De Souza and Medhurst described the political cartoon as a neglected genre of political communication. The reason for this seeming lack of documentation, as Ernest Gombrich posits in his famous study on cartooning, The Principle of Caricature, is puzzling issue whether to consider this genre as a work of art or an expression of humor. To consider political cartoon as an expression of humor is to abuse their functions because political cartoons do not necessarily express humor, says Diamond 2002. They are political symbols, and the best way to study them, according to Diamond, is through the construction of those symbols. Yemi Ola, in his 2013 study, investigates the forms of traditional and contemporary satire in Nigeria. And he observes that majority of traditional art historical scholarship lopsidedly focused on the classical traditions or the serious aspect of the discipline, such as sculpture, ceramics, textile, or painting, etc. The satirical, critical, or funny side of African art production has been largely overlooked, and this has caused a dearth of parody and satire scholarship. Yet, visual satire or cartoon are a significant aspect of cultural production, a product of human agency that is inherently influential. The methodology. This study is qualitative, descriptive, and based on textual analysis. The analysis of cartoons is accomplished by iconographic analysis within visual and social semiotic theoretical frameworks. A purposive sampling technique is employed in the selection of cartoons analyzed, with the criteria of selection being socio-political themes, cartoons embedded with visual imageries and less textual elements, and single panel cartoons. These criteria are dictated by the objectives and theoretical orientations of this study. Audience opinions is captured through letters to the editor in the selected newspapers, comments following the cartoons on social media platforms, as well as structured interviews. Respondents included cartoonists, cartoon scholars, newspaper editors, journalists, and the cartoon audience in Nigeria. Secondary data for this study comprises literary materials underpinning the focus of the study. Published and unpublished materials on political cartooning are reviewed to situate this investigation in time and provide justification for the study. Libraries were also consulted for text, journals, exhibition brochures, magazines, and dissertations. The analysis of data is inductive, and inferences are drawn from an in-depth observation of the textual and visual elements embedded in cartoon representations within their context of production. The cartoons are analyzed under the following headings: contextual background, formal description, and iconographic analysis of works. Significance of the study. The study provides a canon which imageries in political cartoons can be studied based on.
Dr. Juma, sorry, I don't want to wait till the end of, till you finish reading before I drop. The study will, because it is assumed that the study has not been completed.
Okay, Prof. Okay, thank you, sir. The study will provide a canon through which visual imageries in political cartoons can be studied based on diversified sources, namely popular culture, mythical and religious allusions, as well as stereotypic and metaphoric constructs. It will further establish that imageries in political cartoons are engaged as elements of satire and counter-discourse narratives. The study will employ visual and social semiotic theories within iconographic structure of image analysis to provide a framework for the study of visual imageries in political cartoons and reveal the importance of cartoon scholarship in art historical discourse. As most art historians see cartoons as lesser art, visual culture scholars and historians will find this study invaluable in understanding potentials of political cartoons as visual forms through which societal realities are interrogated and documented. The scholarly analysis of the visual political commentaries of Nigerian cartoonists is significant in art historical research, as most studies on African art culture always exclude cartoons and cartoonists. Lastly, this study will be significant for news editors and cartoon audience, as it will reveal the need for understanding contextual imports of imageries in cartoons for analytical interpretations and attributions. A work plan. The goal of this fellowship is to revise my PhD to dissertation for book publication. Hence, considerable amount of data has been gathered.
I would suggest you say the goal of the proposed project.
Okay, sir. The proposed project. Okay. The proposed book project will be realized between July 1, 2021 and April 30, 2022. That is 10 months. The study will be carried out within the following timeline: July to September that is for additional literatures to be reviewed to stay current on ongoing scholarly discourse on the subject matter. Then October, there will be a further analysis of data. Then between November and December, there will be presentation at seminars for peer review and feedbacks. Then between January and February, that will be slated for the writing of book chapters. And between March and April, the proofreading of chapters will be carried out and further editorial works and submission of manuscript to the publisher. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now the floor is open now, as they will say. Comments, questions, queries.
Okay, I have a comment and a question.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ganiyu. I enjoyed reading your paper, and it's the topic of cartoons that represent the society and political issues in the societies, a topic I've always been interested in. And as he was presenting, I was actually checking through my phone because I have a few collection of some cartoons that speak on some of the most recent issues in the society. And I was just wondering why you are limiting your work to 2003 to 2013. I think from 2013 on, up till now, we've had so many issues as a country that you have some cartoons actually representing some of these things. And then secondly, I didn't hear how you are collecting these cartoons. Are you collecting them from print media or online media sources? I mean, the source of these cartoons, where are you getting them from? It would be nice to hear that in your discussion. And sorry, lastly, there's one of my colleagues, we studied together, Dr., I don't know if he's a professor now, Duncan Omanga. He has worked so much on cartoons. Maybe you can Google his name, and that will help you in some of your literature review. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Prof, can I respond to that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. In terms of the period 2003 to 2013, actually, after submitting the essay, the drafts, I was also thinking of extending the period because we've, like you said, we've had series of events, especially with the current dispensation that have been expressed in political cartoons. So I've been thinking of extending the period as well. Though the main reason for selecting the period I've selected before was the fact that I was trying to see how democratization process, like how the first time there was a kind of a transition of power between three democratically elected presidents in Nigeria happened. So, and I was trying to see how the visual medium of cartoon is trying to express that. So, and like you said, it will also be interesting to include the present dispensation because this is also the first time the incumbent president is actually, deposed, so to say. So, and I think, thank you so much for that information. I think it is important for me to extend it to the current period because we've had a lot of things going on as well. So the collections, yes, I intend to collect the cartoons from the print media and from online media as well. Because we have most of the newspaper, the mass media outlets, they now have their online platform through which they disseminate information to their audience. So those will be collected from online and also from print.
So it would be nice to have them written in the work, I think. But Prof has the final say on that.
Yes, I will do that. Yes. Thank you.
Don't have the final say.
I also have a comment to make in that regard. Sorry, Prof, before you carry on. It's very much related to the earlier, comments. So first of all, about the 2003 to 2013, I quickly wrote it down as, something of concern to me. you try to explain why you made that selection, why you had that time frame. And yeah, you mentioned issues of democratization, corruption, mismanagement of funds, and all of that. Sorry, did someone talk?
Oh, please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. So most of those things you mentioned, I also find them happening, in this current government. So for me, it's not framing enough. It's not framing enough. It's not specific enough to say, okay, because of this, I am focusing on this date. But get the point clearly. I do not think that there is anything wrong with studying even a single year. So I will not suggest that you extend the year, just because this and this are happening. I would rather suggest that you streamline your reasons for selecting any particular year or any particular time frame or period. Try and find out the specificity of that time period, with regards to your work. You get what I mean? And then you also mentioned the issue of collecting your data from print and online. Like I said, even if you decide to select 1 year, right? Any 1 year in the history of Nigeria, you will be drowned with data. We actually have a lot of cartoonists right from time. I am an artist, so I am personally attracted to cartoons. And I see a lot of them flying here and there, and some of them are not even in the newspapers. So now, if you want to focus on newspapers, make sure it's a decision you're taking, and then let that reflect in your writing. But if you're just talking about print and online, I mean, some people post their own on Facebook. That is online. Are you gonna take that? I must emphasize that I'm not saying do this or don't do that, but these are the things that you must understand, that once you mention cartoon, and for instance, once you mention print and online, these are things that are flashing on people's mind. And now you have to say, okay, I am doing this, I am not doing that. And then you provide kind of justifications to your reasons for doing what you're doing and not doing what you don't want to do. You see? And then if, for instance, you want to settle on newspapers, another question arises. Are you going to select every single Nigerian newspaper? Are you going to select every single cartoon from each of the Nigerian newspapers? If, for instance, you want to come down to, okay, let's take Vanguard and The Guardian, are you selecting every political cartoon on these two newspapers? So I'm thinking that, these are, part of the things that will just help you streamline to know exactly what you're talking about, and to make the listener or the reader understand that you have really spent time deliberating on these things, and here are your reasons, here are your limitations, here are this, here are that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all for now.
Thank you, Dr. Kafo. Can I respond now?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, when I was presenting, under methodology, I actually talked about the scope. I talked about the scope of the study. And for the selected period, 2003 and 2013, I talked about the process of democratization and all that. So, and I think that since this is, and Prof can actually correct me on that, since this is something I'm transforming my PhD dissertation into a book form. I think what I need to do is to improve on it and not to actually subtract from it in terms of the years. So because this is a PhD dissertation, that the period was 2003 to 2013, so which I'm trying to turn into a book form. So I think that for me, I think the best thing to do is to have a kind of additional data if it is still within the scope of what I'm trying to do. That's about the period of 2003 and 2013, which I think, based on the scope, which I have highlighted, I don't think it is that long. I don't think it's a long period, because I am looking at the visual imageries embedded in those cartoons, as I have written in the methodology. I'm looking at the visual imageries because most of the cartoons that are under study, people have been studying cartoons from the textual element angle and not from the visual, not from the art historical angle by using semiotic theories and visual semiotic theories. By doing, like I said, I'm looking at the visual imageries and how cartoonists are employing these imageries, in representing realities. So, and also, when I talked about the selection of the cartoonists, I'm not actually looking at every cartoon, every newspaper and all that. I said I'll be looking at 10 selected cartoonists. Of course, like you rightly said, it is important for me to talk about these cartoonists to have their names there and the reasons for their selections, and also from the newspapers they work with. So I'm only going to select the cartoons from the newspapers they worked with. And most of the time, these newspapers also have their online platform. So it's just going to be a kind of, selections from these 10 cartoons, their works from that particular period, and not just all the works. I also said in the methodologies that when I talked about the criteria for the selection, I said I'm going to use a purposive sampling technique. So, and through that, I'll look at the cartoons that are more embedded with visual images. There are lots of cartoons. So, but the ones with visual imageries and of course with less textual elements, and the ones that are in single panel. So in a way, I've actually demarcated the scope of the selection and how these things will be selected. But of course, it is important for me to write the names of the newspapers, to also talk about the cartoonists, that will be selected. Thank you so much.
Any other comments? Thank you very much, Dr. I think we asked for comments and we really got them in abundance. Now, if you allow comments, well, if once you make the comments, I may not bother. What comments are comments? Are there other comments? My concern is that we just have a little over 20 minutes. I was thinking we'll be able to take 3, but let me quickly make my own comments if other people are not. Now, as you were making your presentation, I was trying to look for a particular work. There is Professor Tejumolo Olaniyan has done some work. He has a book. In fact, I was trying to see if I could get the electronic version of it so that I could send to you. But the title of the book is it Taking African Political
Seriously, sir.
Yes, aha. Very good.
I have a chapter in the book, sir.
Very good. So we're talking to an expert. So that is wonderful. So I think that is good. And I was also trying to see if he has published, because I knew when he was working on this project. So now, I like the terms of the compact nature of this proposal. I like it. And let me just share my experience with you. Over the years, I've discovered that many times, the strongest proposals are not always the longest.
Yeah.
So let us bear that in mind. I can tell you something. The very first fellowship that I got, the entire proposal was 1 page. That was what they asked for. So this thing about, let us never feel that it's a disadvantage when you don't have, when you've not been given enough time to say what you want to say. The major discipline that every scholar needs now is the discipline or the ability or the skill to say everything you want to say in very few words. And I can tell you that over the years, I've seen South African scholars displaying that skill in an amazing manner. You can say a lot of things, the ability to compress. Say the things that are important is the thing. So that's very important. Now, let's go to the title. The title, do you think it's okay to just say cartoons, or you want to say newspaper cartoons?
Okay.
Just consider it. The decision, final decision, lies with you. Then the other thing with the main thesis looks too broad. It's even broader than the abstract. So it doesn't seem to focus on your work. The abstract, let me just make a distinction now this is my own understanding of it. The abstract is the conventional abstract. The abstract you're expected to. The abstract will give you where you can, you can
Wait,
have
have you finished eating?
you can have these elements there. You can have the research problem hinted at. You can have the objectives of the research methodology, and then what you think this work, why this work is significant, what you want to accomplish. That's abstract. In the main thesis, you are just drawing attention to what this work is bringing, as I say, to the table. That is what is unique about this work. This is the argument that it seeks to make, and the reason it's making it. If you can tentatively, this is my idea again, you can imagine a situation in which the main thesis will be like half in terms of length, in terms of of the abstract. So I think you have to work on that. As I said, I like this because the strength of the proposal is in it. It's this compact nature. It doesn't seem to bring irrelevant things. But that's not to say now in the body now. So as far as the main thesis is concerned, I want you to rewrite that, and by God's grace, I would like to look at it. It doesn't matter, it may be after the workshop, because that's, we have a commitment to all participants, even if it's after the workshop. But let me say something. Let nobody be in a hurry to submit the application. There's no reward for anybody. As I was the first to submit. No. There are people that I know who wait till the last day, or the day before the last day, and they would have been working on what their proposals until they are satisfied. You see, the more time you spend on it, most of the time, the better. So now, one thing, there's a common problem here. And once you just correct it, it will apply. At times you hint at this work. The study will investigate. I would rather go for that than the study investigating. No, or the study is investigating. That's as you have in the body. That's the fourth line of the body. The study will investigate selected cartoons of 10 Nigerian cartoonists as published. And I think I like your justification. I listened to everybody talk on why you limited that. Maybe they want you to also focus on the Buhari era and give Buhari some bashing. I can understand with them. I'm not reading their minds. But you see, the thing about the beauty of research is, look, you can do that for this project and then choose to do something else to focus on that period in another project. So it's okay. That's why I didn't get involved in the discussion. Now, I didn't make any mark on now I even in under methodology, I will want you to say, one point that I think I also like is the fact that you recognize that the AHP goes for qualitative research. It's not research that has to do with measurements as an index of gauging significance, as you have in the social sciences and the sciences, where you do figures and all that. The project that the AHP wants to fund is supposed to, one, be humanistic in orientation and adopt the qualitative method, which privileges interpretation, analysis, of cultural, human, historical experience. So whether it's in the realm of literature or philosophy or religion or music, or history, human experience at its center. And the emphasis is not on what it will do or the policy value of the work. No, it's the emphasis is actually the value of the research for knowledge, what it will contribute to knowledge. That is enough. So it's always very important for us to bear the research priorities of any funding agency in mind, because those things that they highlight as their priorities are the very things they will give attention to when they are evaluating submissions. So I want you to go through all of this so that you won't create the impression that the work has been done. Now, significance of the study. Significance. The study will provide a canon, will provide. Don't create the impression that the study has been completed. Otherwise, AHP will say, so if it has been done, so what are you looking for? Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Then I don't know whether in fine arts you use imageries. We also use imagery in literature. And then, well, an image, when you're talking about, when you're talking about the use of images, you are talking about imagery. So, but if you use imageries, fine. But we often don't pluralize it. So I don't know whether this is discipline specific. Now, this study will employ. Hmm? Don't say employ. Don't just say, I mean, will employ. The study, the proposed study. So you are creating the impression that, don't create the impression. Then there's an expression here that I think I should. It says it further establishes that imageries in political cartoons are engaged as elements of satire in counter-discourse narratives. You can say counter-discursive narratives. Counter-discursive narratives. And then the next one is the study will employ the study will employ visual social semiotic within iconographic structure. I say within the iconographic structure of image analysis, within the iconographic structure of image analysis, to provide a framework for the study of visual images in political cartoons, and reveal the importance of cartoon scholarship in art historical discourse. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
So the emphasis should be on what the knowledge especially in the last part of significance. I think that when you have the scholarly analysis of the visual political commentaries of Nigeria is significant in arts historical research, as most studies on African. Okay, lastly, this study is not. Now you can take the last part of. Lastly, this study is significant for news editors and cartoon audiences, as reveals the need for understanding contextual import of images in cartoons for analytical interpretation and attributions. That one is not necessary. Now, the last point I want to make has to do with the fact that in your work plan, the actual writing is going to be for 2 months, and that is not a plus. That is not a plus. Now, when you create that impression, somebody may hold on to that and say, the work, you don't need a whole year for this project. So even if you are revising, you have to highlight the things you are going to do and spread out the work. If the work is just, you are going for the other things, you are going to, the writing, even when you are converting, there are certain things that happen. Many times when you are revising your work, you may want to add to it. At times, some reviewers may be interested in asking you why, if you are just going to, if it's not going to take so much time, you are going to, I mean, then why will you be applying for a fellowship? You understand? Why will you be applying for a fellowship that is supposed to be for a year? So please, this is an area that is very, very important. In fact, it's apart from the strength of the proposal is there, the clarity of the proposal, of the research agenda. These are the things that they assess. And then how realistic is the proposal in terms of the amount of time you need to complete it. They want to know whether you are proposing to do too much within 1 year, what you can't accomplish, or you are planning to do too little. So all of these are very important, and I think you should pay attention to them. In under work plan again, July to September, additional literature, don't pluralize literature. Additional literature to be reviewed will be reviewed to stay current on ongoing scholarly discourse on the subject matter. I think this is a very, very promising and very strong proposal. So, but you see, it will be stronger when you take care of all of those things. That the main thesis has to be written, the abstract has to be written, and as I said, let us try as much as possible not to write too much. Writing too much can be a problem. Is that all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. Are there questions or comments? It appears we won't be able to go beyond what we have done today because of our time. We have less than 10 minutes to go, except we feel that we should listen to somebody and then we'll have the discussion tomorrow. Is Dr. Carol Ngosi Anyagwa ready? Is Dr. Anyagwa there? Hello? Can you hear me?
It's not on the screen.
Okay. Is Dr. Okafor there?
Yes, I'm here, Prof.
Let's see if you can make the presentation now, and then we'll defer the discussion to tomorrow. Is that okay?
Okay, but tomorrow I would like to refresh by presenting again before the discussion. I wouldn't present now and then, I don't know the one that will work better, but I'm thinking I can present now and then tomorrow I present again and then we discuss.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, just so that we are sure that the paper is fresh in everybody's mind.
Yeah, don't worry. So you can so that I won't waste these minutes. Let's see how far we can go before they call us for the.
Okay. So the title of my project is Exploring Ceramics Making as Rites of Passage. Can I go on with the abstract? I guess I can skip that.
You know, they don't have it, so.
No, I have the abstract. Yeah. Okay. Abstract. Rites that mark human transitions from one phase of life to another have historically been practiced in different societies across the globe. These rites traditionally have been known to insert order in the strata of social movements. Despite known cultural benefits, the practice of rites has become less popular in contemporary societies today. Recent studies reveal that individuals and groups increasingly seek ways to creatively navigate their needed rites. This research project will attempt to, 1, discover thematic parallels between ceramics making and rites of passage. 2, ascertain distinct similarities between ceramics processes and those of rites of passage. 3, creatively explore ceramics processes as performance and rituals. The study is a practice-based research and will employ studio experiments or explorations as the primary sources of data, as well as analysis. Secondary data will involve contextual and documentary reviews. Main thesis. Although myriad of interconnections and applicability exist between clay and the human body, and the clay processes to transitions, how these relate to social transformations of the self is yet to be the interest of any research. Therefore, the central questions of this project are: what relationships exist between ceramics processes and rites of passage? And how will the potential relationships be explored in creatively designing one's own transitions? And then the body. In its materiality, the ability of clay to retain impressions through formation processes, drying and firing to rock-like hardness presents it as impressionable material for our own brooding experience. Also, its fundamental propensity to tear, slouch, and collapse when overworked to its material limits echoes the tired human body when overly stressed. It is further interesting to note that in many lexica, names for various parts of pots directly draw from parts of the human body. In English language, for instance, pots have mouths, lips, necks, shoulders, bellies, waists, bottoms, and feet. The Judeo-Christian religions also believe man was fashioned from clay by God. These interconnecting attributes between the human body and the clay body, clay body is an actual term for any clay mix, So I said these interconnecting attributes between the human body and the clay body presents the material and its processes of making as providing possible metaphors for the self. My specialization in the ceramic medium since my undergraduate studies and as a contemporary artist has exposed me to the use of clay, its creative processes, possibilities, and metaphors of making. I have found that performing rites and creating ceramics are both arts and acts. They constitute human becomingness, in the force of a person, and in the latter of a utilitarian way. Several metaphors interlinking clay and the human body has led me to interrogate the possible ways that the processes of creating ceramics can be explored for metaphors for our own transition. This study will explore possible parallels between ceramics making and rites of passage, especially initiation. It investigates how those relationships can inform creativity in both art practice and passage rites. In this way, this project hopes to interrogate the ceramic process and how it could possibly lend itself to self-reflectivity through making. Specifically, the project will, 1, discover thematic parallels between ceramic making and rites of passage. 2, ascertain distinct similarities between ceramic processes and those of rites of passage. 3, creatively explore ceramics processes as performance and rituals. Literature and sources. Following his 1909 study, which sparked scholarly interest in rites of passage, Van Gennep observed that various cultures and subcultures around the world developed rites that mark human transitions from one phase of life to another. These rites have historically been practiced, referred to as rites of passage. The rites have been known to insert order in the strata of social movements. Despite the known cultural benefits, the practice of rites has become less popular in the contemporary society. Recent studies reveal that individuals and groups increasingly seek ways to creatively navigate their needed rights.
I think this may go off now, so just continue. It's okay.
Beyond culturally known rights, the quest for transitional self-definition and identity is common with each new phase of life. Puberty, becoming a parent, coping with tragedy, independence, taking up a new post, or even moving permanently to a new city involves psychological and emotional complexities that are sometimes ignored. Without such rights to accompany individuals through distinct phases of life, particularly across contemporary societies, the individual sometimes reacts to the resulting realities through practices that include social withdrawal, unhealthy secret associations, excessive partying, dangerous forms of sexual experimentation, and even suicide. In line with this, researchers have argued that there is a need to reinvent and creatively design rites that suit one's own needs. I guess there's no point going on. There's no problem.
I think we'll all continue to read It's okay. At least we have started looking at your work.
And then I wouldn't mind sending my paper across to everyone. I love criticism. So I would
Yeah.
like everyone to trash my paper.
Yeah, I think that I also find your main thesis as a model. It's very sharp and captures it. So I yeah, if you won't mind, I can send it to them.
Yeah, I'm very fine with that.
So that we can have a comment, and it's good. We have you are not the only artist in the house. So we're surrounded by artists. So we're careful about what we say.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening.
It's actually it's almost 1 minute that's left. So I'll try to send this to. I think that those whose email addresses are here, I would. But if they are not okay, yeah, I think the email addresses are there. It's yours that's not even there. So I'll get the contacts and then. But I will only forward the proposals of those who say we should forward to other people. We need their consent. So
you can also forward mine, Prof. I'm
okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your separate rooms.
Yes, we did. It was a fruitful session with Prof. Dominic DePue.
Okay. Thank you very much. You're welcome back. Okay. We will close at this point. It is 2:45 here in Nigeria. We will close at this point and then reconvene tomorrow. Meanwhile, there is a change. Please, we want to make a slight change on the program. If you look at the program, it says that tomorrow morning from 10 to 12, we are going to have the group sessions. That is the breakout sessions. We've decided to move the breakout session to afternoon, and then in the morning, we will take the talks. In the morning, we are going to take talks from Professor Austin Emielu and Professor Oyeniyi Okunwoye. And if it depends on how long, I'm sure their talks are not going to be that quite long. And then it depends also on how many applicants that our mentors have left to discuss personally with. It is possible that we may just hold the entire 2 sessions in the morning hours of tomorrow. If we do not have more applicants who are coming, who are going to have discussions with, if we don't have many applicants that are going to be attended to by the AHP mentors. So please, I would like the AHP mentors to probably send me a chat to let me know how many people they have met, they have discussed with, and I could just ask them and then they could respond. Let's start with Professor Emielu. Professor Emielu, how many of your applicants have you been able to discuss with?
Yes, I discussed with about 4 of them, about 4 of them. But I remember, I think that somebody was not around.
Okay.
So there's some other people whose proposal are not with me also joined the group.
Okay.
I asked them to send to you that you forward to me.
Okay, okay. Right now, do you have any proposal pending with you?
No. But what I said was that they should go back again based on what we have discussed today to see if they have new ideas by tomorrow.
Good. Thank you very much. Professor Oyeniyi. Professor Kuoye.
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute. Okay, all right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we're on the
How
third.
many? Okay.
We were on the third. I think we should, with about 1.5 hours or less, we will be done tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So I think it's the other presentation shouldn't last more than 30 minutes, and then
yes, and then we can take this. Okay. Professor Musila.
Yes.
How many applicants were you able to take today?
We've covered 4. We didn't have 2 of our participants. So yeah, we covered all the 4 that were there.
Okay, so we hope that the 2 will turn up tomorrow.
Yes.
Professor DPO.
Yes. Yeah. I should have had 5 in my group, but only one, Ada, was the one I'd reviewed. And then there were others who were, there was CD and Abu Bakr who were part of my discussion. And we comprehensively discussed 2 proposals, Ada's and Abu Bakr's. And then the others really participated in a great way to also contribute towards it.
Thank you very much. So, Professor Emielu, you asked some applicants to send their draft via me to you.
Yes, one of them said he has sent before that he didn't get. He doesn't know what happened.
Oh, okay. Please, they should send me email. I don't know if they are hearing us. Are they here?
I'm trying to remember her name now. She should be here. She should be
Okay.
here.
Professor, I know Dr. Mba, was Dr. Mba in your group?
Noyelom, that's person Noyelom.
Yes, Noyelom, yes. Yeah, I'll send hers to you. It's good. Okay, on this note, I would like to thank you so much for your time and for your effort, and I look forward to having another fruitful day tomorrow. So we will start with the talks, and then we'll end up with the breakout session as we have had today. Thank you so much, and have a nice rest this evening, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
So thank you, Prof.
How was that?
Bye. Bye. Recording. I should pause now. No, they say go. Recording. I can't stop now.